Moderna is swinging to a surprise profit of 3 cents. The street had actually been looking for a pretty big loss of $1.90 a share. Revenue came in at $1.86 billion. That also beat estimates of just $1.25 billion. The stock right now looks like it is up by about 3.5%. Joining us right now, first on CNBC, is Stephane Bancel. He is Moderna's CEO. And Stephane, let's talk through these numbers because this is a big surprise to the street. I think there were two things that happened. First of all, your sales were better than anticipated. Second of all, you've been cutting costs at a faster clip than I think even you had been anticipating.
Well, good morning, Becky. Yes, indeed, we are very pleased with the quarter. We had a very good quarter in terms of sales. As you know, the FDA approved the COVID vaccine in the U.S. 3 weeks earlier than last year. And the team was really ready to be able to scale up shipment very quickly. So if you look at the first week, we actually shipped twice as much product as last year, allowing pharmacies and hospitals to have quick access to the vaccines for people who want to be protected. Also, outside the U.S., in most countries, vaccination campaigns start around October 1st. So it means you have to get product in the country ready to go because of our big national plan like you see in the UK. And then, as you say, on the cost, as we said now a year ago, that we were going to relook at our cost structure because, of course, during the pandemic, we had to focus on speed. Quality was something we could never compromise on, so speed was so important, obviously, to save lives. So cost came as a kind of third wheel. But as we are going back into now a normal world, the team has done an excellent job, and I really want to thank them across the entire P&L. If you look at the cost of goods, if you look at R&D, if you look at SG&A, we've done that throughout the year. This is only this quarter, and we continue to do that. We think we still have opportunities to improve our cost structure, especially as we scale the company. What's going to be exciting, as you know, we have up to 10 products to launch in the next few years from the 2 products we have available today on the market. That should, of course, drive sales. But thanks to investment in digital, investment in AI, I think we're going to be able to have a very nice leverage on the P&L from a profitability standpoint.
Stephane, no question, these results are really impressive, better than the street was looking for. Now the stock looks like it's up by about 6.5%. What portion of your sales come from the U.S.? What portion comes from international sales, the rest of the world?
So if you look at the entire year, it's around a 50-50 split. Of course, the U.S. is a very important market for us, the number one market. But given vaccinations are given pretty broadly, as you know, in terms of volume, there's a lot. And some countries have a much higher vaccination rate than the U.S. As you know, one of the things we worry about is the U.S. vaccination rate is still too low compared to flu. Last winter, as you know, 600,000 Americans got hospitalized, 3 times more than flu. We need to do better. In the UK, for example, the vaccination rate in the elderly is much higher, and that's reflected, of course, in volume of our vaccines.
Okay, well, let's talk about the election results just in light of all of this. Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be having some position. Trump said it himself last night when he was talking about his administration in his victory speech, speaking about some of these things. RFK Jr. is going to have a role in the administration. We don't know what yet, but some of the things that he said yesterday could include either Health and Human Services Secretary or White House Health Czar, some new position that they may create around these issues. He has said that he is not going to be taking vaccines away from people, but he wants to make sure what he says is the proper information gets out there. He has been in the past very closely associated with saying, or he has said repeatedly, that vaccines cause autism. He does have a lot of concerns about what happened in COVID. He thinks that these COVID vaccines got out without people really knowing the truth about them not stopping transmission. And if the Trump administration chooses to, they can say that a lot of these vaccines will no longer really be supported by the CDC or advised by the CDC, and that's how insurance guidelines are set. So you could be looking at a much tougher way to get these 10 vaccines that you have on your pipeline fully approved in the time frame you're looking at. And you could have issues. You've already said that vaccine hesitation is here in the United States. You've seen it over the last 3 years, and Moderna's shares over the last 3 years have reflected that as well. What do you do with this new administration?
So first of all, we have always worked very collaboratively with any governments in any country, including, of course, in the U.S. You know, I've been here for the last 13 years and worked with quite a number of administrations, including during the first term of President Trump. we always partner with public health officials. We have the same mission and the same goal, which is to make sure people are healthy. And we believe that prevention is really important, whether it's eating healthy, exercise, sleeping well, but also, of course, vaccines are very important for prevention of disease. And so we will, of course, work with public health officials. We are a science-driven company. We always believe in data. We care deeply about the safety of our products. We don't, go into this business to hurt people. We actually want to protect people from getting sick with vaccines or treat people like with our cancer product that are already sick. And so we are totally aligned with the same goals and will, of course, work very closely with the administration.
Where is the status right now of the cancer work that you all are doing? Because that's what a lot of people have looked to.
So we're very excited that in melanoma, the phase 3 study is now fully enrolled. So we are basically now waiting for results. As you know, the phase 2 study was extremely encouraging. We had at the 3-year time point post-treatment, 2 out of 3 people with no distant metastasis or death. So it's a huge milestone compared to the best drug available. It was compared to Keytruda, a drug for Merck, as you know. And so we are very excited. We're starting more and more studies. The team are discussing with our Merck colleagues to even start more studies. We believe this technology that is individualized to every human being based on their cancer or the DNA of their cancer cells. We think this is a new way to do medicine. It's individualized. It's customized for everybody. The data are very encouraging, and we believe that as we learn more about the technology, as we go earlier in disease, because the phase 2 was for stage 3 and stage 4 melanoma patients, as we go earlier in disease, people's immune system are stronger, and we believe this will lead to even better outcome for patients. So that's exciting for them.